Yasyagnihotra madarsha mapaurnamasa machaturmasya managrayana matithivarjitam cha ahutama vaishvadevam avidhina hutam asaptamamstasya lokan hinasti. Yasyagnihotra madarsha mapaurnamasa machaturmasya managrayana matithivarjitam cha ahutama vaishvadevam avidhina hutam asaptamamstasya lokan hinasti. Now here is again, now he gets into the actual ritual. He whose Agnihotra, sacrifice, is not accompanied by the rites of the Darsha, the new moon, Paurnamasa, the full moon, Chaturmasya, the 4 months, Agrayana, the harvest time, without guests, or Vaishva Deva, right, which is the animal feeding or bird feeding, which is contrary to scriptural injunction. Means if you don't have all these are not accompanied, adarsham, if these are all devoid of all this, then his 7 worlds are in ruins. Last 3 janmas, this janma, next 3 janmas, you are living a life of hanasti. You are in ruins. Now, before I get into the significance, it's just a mention of it. So those who are performing it and those who perform would know what these terms are, when should be done, what should be included, who not to include, etc. But what is the philosophical significance? It's a very subtle, but a very, at the same time, very blunt. I repeat, it's a very subtle and yet a very blunt message. If you don't do all these things, you will live a world in ruins. Not this, but 7 worlds of yours are in ruins. Yes, that's it. Thank you. Now, who can tell me the significance? What does it mean? What does the 7 worlds mean? So, no, not 7 worlds, the 7 worlds of ruins. His worlds are ruined. Because in the previous mantra, he said, you perform this ritual, you'll attain, in the first mantra, he said, you'll attain the worlds of meritorious deeds. But when you do that with Shraddha, but if you don't keep this in mind, you are ruined, he says. So, Vasantama, tell me, what does it mean you are ruined? When are you ruined?
Symbolically, you're ruined when you do not perform your actions selflessly, unselfish.
Perfect. If in the, what is the opposite of that?
Selfish.
So if you lead a selfish, self-centered life, you are ruined for 7 janmas. Next time you are selfishly developing any attachment of I and my, including the DPs that you put, what DPs you put, what screensavers you put, whom are you worshipping? Your objects of your attachment, my child, my grandchild, my family, my this, my that. 7 worlds will be in ruins. All the time we are hanging. Who is hanging? My family, my this, my that. Is it not sickening? I don't know. Somebody other day suggested to me. Who is ever suggested? I'll not mention. I put a DP of Vinayagar photo I put. Somebody pestered me until I removed the DP and put my picture. What to do? I'm going to again change it back. So if you people agree or disagree, I don't care. How can you keep thinking of yourself? Is it not sickening? Kashish, please tell me. I can't talk to these people. You are the only person who is. No, I don't know a guy, Rajima. I don't want to mention the person's name because it was told with so much love. So that's the reason I had to succumb, There's so much of motherly love that person told me, Guruji, please don't do. Please, people have to identify you. Now you know who it is, no? So don't worry, don't say that. Okay, you got the message. So suffocating love, I got suffocated a little bit. Then I changed it. I succumbed to that. Ashish,
Yes, Guruji.
how can one be comfortable? Is it not sickening to keep thinking of oneself? Please tell me.
It is kind of overwhelming. Like if you're all the time focused on, like when you're in your own head after a while, like, and then you get reminded of like, oh, there's other things that exist. So like when you get absorbed in nature and you're able to forget yourself, when you come back to it and you remember that you're like a human being and you have a body and everything, it's almost like heavier. Like you were like outside your body, outside your mind for a while, and then you come back in and you're like, oh, this feels a little cramped. This feels a little weird,
I can see your dancing lessons are going very well. I can
Sorry,
very well
Guruji.
see. I can very well see that.
I talk with my hands.
No, not just with the hands. There's all movement happening. So please give our appreciation to your teacher that people are commenting, complimenting that I've learned well. Okay,
Thank you, Guruji. I
because
will.
even in philosophical class you are bringing that dance. What dance are you learning?
I'm learning salsa, Guruji.
What is salsa? I thought it was a dish to eat. Is it not a dish to eat?
It is also like a
Oh,
condiment type of thing, but it's also a Latin American type of dance.
will you teach me?
Sure. If you want to learn,
But I
I'd
will
be
want to
happy
learn only for self-realization. Would it take me to self-realization?
to. From what I've been told, you can have any kund, any avenue can get you there as long as you.
Some wise soul told you, any kund, as long as you do it for self-realization, no problem, isn't it? My
Yeah.
God, you learn so fast. I tell you, I am going to be very soon jobless. Because if you people don't learn, I will have a job at hand. No. Wonderful, Kashi. So what I'm trying to get at is, and what the text is trying to hit hard at us, that you should perform as he has set the tone, that you should perform your oblations between the two portions, means guiding us to the highest path, which is the selfless path. But if you choose not to do that, not to do so, you are ruined. For 7 janmas, look at the conviction with which they say, whenever I see people, whenever you see people going through enormous suffering in this birth, it could be physical torture, emotionally deprived, materially deprived, going through hell in some form or the other. What hits hard is when people are, with suffering without physical comfort, material. It's very vivid, and we see them suffering. Only thing that should hit you, or it hits me, is what has this person done to deserve that? Obviously, you feel sorry for what he is, where he is. But what has he done to deserve it? And that should be a reminder that I should not, knowingly, unknowingly, I should not try to be selfish. I should not all the time glorify myself, my deeds, my work, my attachments, my belongings. Don't live in the glory of your own shadow. Don't glorify yourself. It is sickening. Even if you don't find it sickening, remember the fruits of such self-centered thoughts are only lokan hinasti. Asapta mamstasya lokan hinasti. The 7 worlds of yours are ruined. So from now on, please don't take selfie photos and send me. Some people keep on sending me their selfies, or they'll get others to take them and they keep sending me. Whoever got the message, please take a note. Because I have to go through the exercise of unnecessary deleting, time waste. It is not getting me to self-realization. You're delaying my realization by getting me into all this unnecessary thing. Huh? The people take same photo, they'll take 5 times to send me. Why one photo at least you can send me 5 times? 10 times? That self-worship should be avoided. Yes, Haresh.
Guruji, when in a family or a community, if let's say one person is selfless or unselfish, and let's say the family, the community is selfish, and the individual who is selfless and unselfish keeps performing those unselfish and selfless actions within the family or the community, do you think invariably at some point, Guruji, they also pick up that spirit of becoming unselfish and selfless by watching the action of the other person, or not necessarily, or at some point it does hit them?
What do you mean hit them?
Being in that environment, it makes them
Influences them,
realize
you
that they
mean?
have to. Yes, influences them.
Yeah,
Does it invariably
absolutely.
happen, Guruji?
It certainly does. In any society, the proportion of selfish are far more than the unselfish and far more than the selfless. Far, far more than the selfless. There may be unselfish people. Like many a time, I'm surrounded by people who want to come and serve. Like when I'm in your company, you want to come and serve the cause. Every one of you whom I meet day in and day out, you're coming to me because you want to be of some service to the cause. Because you say, I also believe in the same kund you are in, Guruji. So my kund and your kund is the same. So I also want to identify with the kund you are in, which is the organization or the good you are doing. I want to be. So I am all the time in the company of the unselfish. But how many times I'm in the company of the truly selfless people? How many of you who come to that place of worship make your actions truly selfless without any stain of impurity or stain of even unselfish motive? That's a rarity. So what I'm trying to say, I'm just justifying my point. The selfish are far greater than unselfish. But the selfish and unselfish are far, far greater compared to selfless. So if you're selfless, you're very, 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 very rare. So you're asking, if I am being unselfish or selfless and I'm going to be surrounded by people, means you will be in an environment where people are takers. You're a giver, your people are takers. Will it not influence? Absolutely. You will certainly, you should continue to perform such actions with the only intention of trying to inspire them to lead. So you lead the way. The trademark of a true leader is to lead the way so that others too can emulate your actions, and not only you rise, but you lift them along with you to a higher level. That's an obligation of a leader. And any environment that you creates a soil for others to grow as well. Like all of you who have come, Lakshmi Ma, Betu Shama, Amitaji Sinha, all of them who came from overseas and spent few days here in the ashram, were completely, I'm just quoting you all, correct me if I'm wrong, that the space and the environment that you've created, a space where I can come and put my head to these scriptures, put my head to this knowledge and evolve. So there's an environment that is created. We create an environment where you can blossom, isn't it? So my action, our action should create an environment where everybody else also evolve. Why not? Why only me evolve? So what can I do? How can I take it to a higher level so that everybody else can grow with it? Is that not a moral obligation in me? Is that not a spiritual obligation in me? Like from a mundane perspective, they say, if you laugh, the world laughs with you. If you weep alone. So if you are in a sad or a melancholic mood, don't spread that melancholy. Am I right word, Rajima? Pritima is missing, otherwise I would have asked her. Melancholy, is there a word melancholy? Rare, isn't it? So don't spread that melancholy around you. They say laugh and the world laughs with you, and you weep alone. You want to weep, you weep in your house, but you laugh, you come out onto the streets and spread that vibrance and radiance and cheer and laughter and fun and frolic. Isn't that a moral obligation for me to be cheerful? Even at that level, I have an obligation. So from a spiritual level, Ramatirtha says, the great Ramatirtha says, not only should you attain realization, you take everybody along with you towards that goal of realization. And that's the only obligation a spiritual man would have, is to bring that enlightenment to everybody. So it may be challenging, firstly, not to be influenced by the bad of others. That's the reason, when you worship, the Navaratri, the 9 days when you worship, what's the first thing, the first 3 days, which goddess is worshipped, Rajima?
Durga, Guruji.
First 3 days, goddess Durga is worshipped. Why do you worship goddess Durga? Symbolizing first destruction of negativities. So the first stage of spiritual journey is you don't get influenced by the negativity of others. That's the first step of spiritual journey. You kill the rajas and tamas in you. You don't allow others to feed your rajas and tamas. So Sai, if anybody is feeding your rajas and tamas, you say, go to hell with them. I don't want to do anything with them. Means you keep your distance. So first 3 days, you are annihilating. You are, Pritima, you are stifling rajas and tamas. So please communicate this message to Pritima that I am still continuing to stifle my rajas and tamas through worshipping goddess Durga. You UK, correct? Huh? If you have become friends with her, please communicate. Guruji was remembering you. Please tell her that. Whoever is a friend of Pritima, please tell Pritima, I'm missing you. 3 times, Pritima, I'm missing you. Again, once more, Pritima, missing you. Please tell this. Okay. For those of you who do not know, Pritima, she had come for the retreat, and very fine lady, and she was a part of. She's a part of the Wisdom family, and it was lovely having them, Ravi Shankarji and Pritima. So I'm just trying to be a little cheeky because we had exchanged. Like Rajima keeps correcting me of English grammar and pronunciation. Pritima also took a serious objection to my illiteracy in English, or a certain choice of words in the right way. So we just had a lot of fun. But please note, those of you who missed it, you missed a lot of wisdom. Above that, you missed a lot of fun. So next time, what come may, Maniji, what come may, your roof may be collapsing on you. Let it collapse. You please come there. Understand? Don't give me no excuses accepted. You missed a lot. Right, sir. Right. So, and the next 3 days, Ushama, who is worshipped? First 3 days is goddess.
Next 3 days, it is Lakshmi.
Goddess Lakshmi. What is goddess Lakshmi?
She represents wealth and prosperity. So in this case, it is meant to use your wealth or your this thing for the welfare of the others. Or for,
And last 3 days?
Last 3 days, it is Saraswati, the goddess of education or knowledge. So the last 3 days, it is to acquire more knowledge so that you are you lead a selfless life, Guruji.
Correct. So first 3 days is to annihilate tamas, rajas. Second, next set of 3 days is to create a conducive environment for attaining good. And the last 3 days, you get into satsang, and the last is you get established in the higher. I'm just broadly interpreting. Don't take it literally. That's the whole study by itself. You can get into it. So Harish, so the first thing is you must ensure that you don't become a victim of other selfishness. Use your resources, which is Lakshmi. Use your resources, use your energies and talents to promote the good in others, and then get yourself. In fact, in short, I'm saying first, don't fall a prey to them. Second, get your actions, your nature influence others. So there's so much of good and bad in Hong Kong. Let the bad in Hong Kong not influence you. Then the good in you must influence entire Hong Kong. Why, Kashish, you think it's not possible? Why are you doubting Harish's ability? Your uncle's
No,
ability, you're
Guruji.
doubting?
I'm
Come
not
on.
doubting his ability at all.
Yeah.
I can see his scope going beyond the entire Hong Kong. He'll take on.
Oh my God. So I limited it to Hong Kong. So Harish, so we will spread it to the entire Asia Pac for now. Is that okay, Kashish? No, I know it's a child's play for him, but we'll limit it to there, and then we'll take it to the, then we'll take beyond those boundaries. So, are you okay, Harish?
Yes, Guruji. Crystal clear. Thank you.
Right. So, those who perform this Agnihotra, which is the sacrifice, if it is not performed, so the list of yajnas and the procedural details are being mentioned here. So the Guru cautions the ritualists, those who are performing the ritual, on the devastating effect if it is not done properly, contrary to scriptural injunctions. Avidhina, the term avidhina means contrary to scriptural injunctions. The Shastras give you clear-cut instructions how to be done. Agnihotra, the fire sacrifice. Whenever you perform, morning or evening, has to be accompanied by the following. So if you chant the mantra, Yasya Agnihotra Madarsham Apaurnamasam Achaturmasam Managrayana Atiti Varjitam Cha. So he says all this tuck list one by one. He's saying, what are they? Darsha, the rites must be performed on a new moon day. Paurnamasa, it must be performed on a full moon day. Chaturmasya, the 3 sacrifices at the start of each session of the 4-month session. What are the 3 sacrifices? Vaishvadevam. What is Vaishvadevam? The Vaishvadevam rite is where you feed the birds and animals. So it necessitates you perform unselfish work. This is meant for those who are performing ritual. Thank you, sir. I was not having a fire. Now I have the fire. I'll start feeding my birds and animals. That is not the kund you prepare for yourself, please. You want to, you can do. But this is meant for those who are ritualistic minded. But that doesn't mean you don't feed the animals and birds. Please, you should. And the other 2 are, which are not mentioned in the mantra, are Varuna Praghasha and Shakamedha. So Vaishvavedam, Varuna Praghasha and Shakamedha are the 3 sacrifices which are performed at the start of each session of the 4 months, which is Chaturmasyam. Agrayana is the harvest time. the harvest season, which is the autumn and the spring, Agrayana. And then he says, Atiti Varjitam. Haresh, this is important. Atiti Varjita means this yajna or sacrifice is not to be performed without inviting guests. So I hope Nisha and family have invited as many guests as possible for the performance. For those of you who don't know, Nisha is Kashish's mother and Haresh's younger sister. So the whole family is very much with us in this journey of spiritual transformation. I'm so happy to note that. And Vijayji is Kashish's father, very much. He's also, they are unable to, in fact, they both express their concern. They are not in a position to attend live classes, but you know what fantastic thing they do? They tell me many a time that after the class, means whenever they get to the recordings, they listen to the recordings and discuss it with their entire family. So they have another satsang that goes on parallelly. Kashish, you should invite me for that satsang. I'll come as an audience. Okay. I'll come in anonymity. You tell one of your friend is joining and I'll log in and I'll attend and listen to all that transpires there. Is that possible?
As you wish, Guruji.
Oh my God, as I wish. I better be careful what I start wishing from now on. So sweet. So you should never ever perform this ritual devoid of any guests. Means again, you should continuously serve. So you should extremely be careful of all that you do. If you don't do this with care, he says, what does he say? Asaptamamstasya lokan hinasti. Your 7 worlds are ruined. So in essence, what we're saying, one selfish thought, one selfish word, one selfish deed is good to destroy you. It can bring about a downfall. It has serious consequences. As much as possible, as much of wisdom that can dawn on you, as much of awareness that can be brought to the forefront, ensure no thought, word, or deed is selfish. So you must be extremely careful how you conduct yourself. As much that if there's a pure white canvas and if there's a small dot, doesn't that dot or that blemish stand out? You must reach to that level of purity that even the slightest of thought stands out. It is your life. Take your action, take your life, take your actions into account. Then it must be a Dalmatian then. Huh? You follow, no? All spots only everywhere. Chicken pox. So don't be a chicken pox or a Dalmatian. Be a beautiful white canvas with a blemish or two. That's acceptable. So if at all you see new vocabulary in this class, it's thanks to Pritima. I bow down to her wisdom. See, Haresh, you also met her. How well I've improved in 1 week, you see. I'm sure you also have learned something in the retreat, isn't it? No, your silence says it all, Harish. All right. So jokes apart, I must tell you the text is catering to a certain bracket of people, and also the text as we move on to in the section, it is going to lead them out of that attachment to the rituals and the ritualistic practices. So there lies the deeper message, but he's building a thought So, but even if the ritual is performed in the right manner, it leads you to the path of merit. It may not lead you to moksha, but if you do it wrongly, if at all you're doing it, do it as ingrained in the script, as declared in the scriptural injunction. Do it in that manner. Otherwise, don't do it, because if you do wrongly, it incurs extreme consequences. That's what the Shastras are roaring it to us. Right? So we'll come back and continue. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.